The 4 secrets I'm going to share with you in this video will probably make you want to totally forget your current car wash routine. If you're like many people who at least have a passing interest in washing your car the right way, you'll have probably found out that you shouldn't use a sponge, and you shouldn't use a rubber blade or a chamois to dry the car, and you're supposed to use a snow foam lance to get the bulk of the dirt off before you do your contact wash. But it's not that simple. The car detailing community has some secrets that it doesn't want to talk about. In this video, I'm going to share the amazing routine that I use to always have a spotless car with almost no time spent each week, and I hardly ever need to do a bucket wash. And as we do that, I'll be explaining where the car wash community are misleading us, and you'll see why. I would consider myself a car detailing enthusiast. I've gone down all the rabbit holes, exploring different techniques, snow foams, clay bar, deionizing water filters, quick detailers, ceramic coatings, waxes, polymer sealants, machine polishing, and many more different products and approaches over the years. By the way, nothing in this video was sent to me for free or as part of any deal with any of the brands I mention. It's all my own gear I've bought myself. As I've spent more time testing and exploring all this, I've come to the realization that there are a great many myths that persist in the car detailing community, that if you follow them will mean you're really wasting a lot of time and doing a lot of unnecessary steps that probably add up to you not wanting to clean the car as often as you'd like, and as a result meaning your car is dirty more often than you want. The routine I've stuck with for a year now is one I consider to be absolutely brilliant, allowing for a clean car almost all of the time with hardly any time spent at all washing the car. And I can go for several months without even thinking about a bucket or contact wash. So the basic idea is really simple. You have something long-lasting on the paint that makes it possible for a fully contactless wash to be done on a weekly basis, the result of which will get the car back to looking like it's just had the full works or very close to it. Achieving this is strangely very hard. The reality is most wax or sealant coatings don't last that long, and you end up with a surface that gets less hydrophobic quite quickly, and the contactless washes get less effective, resulting in you needing to go back to the contact wash every few weeks anyway. If you try and reapply a coating at the contactless stage, it's pretty much impossible to do that without needing to buff dry to avoid marks. But I've found ways to solve all of these problems, and there are 4 main secrets I've discovered to making it work. If we work from a clean and dry car backwards, the first secret is to use deionized or DI water. This removes the need to dry the car, as the water will dry without leaving any marks. And this thing is an absolute game changer. It's basically a giant water filter that sits inline in your hose. It uses ion exchange resin to remove the content from the water that makes it leave watermarks. And the resin does need to be replaced after it has filtered about 1,100 litres, and that costs about £70. The second trick here is to combine the pressure wash with the DI water. It sounds counterproductive and you think you'll waste loads of the expensive DI water, but after fully testing this, what actually happens is to properly remove all the normal water to a degree where you won't still get watermarks. You need to use more DI water than you would have used had you just used the DI water through the pressure hose as part of the pressure wash stage. What happens is you get pools of hard water lurking all over the place, and to properly flush them all means you need to run the rinse hose way more than you think. What's really surprising is actually how little water a pressure washer uses. I've tested this with a little flow meter, and the pressure hose uses less water than a normal hose by quite a margin. One trick with the pressure washer to save a huge amount of time is to have the hoses and pressure washer set up permanently in your garage with smart home controlled solenoid valves and power sockets, and have a permanent long pressure hose always available near your car. So pressure rinsing is just an instant grab and go process. I don't even bother coiling this hose anymore, I just lay it back on itself once. And the solenoid valves let me switch the pressure hose between DI water and normal for any task where I don't need the DI water. The third secret is to use a product for the contactless rinse that is highly effective but designed for free flowing off at the rinse stage. The product I use here is Touchless by Bilt Hamber, and this allows the rinse stage to be super fast. Interestingly, most people use this in a snow foam lance. And this brings us to the main thing I want to talk about in this video. I used to use this in the belief that the foam would allow for a greater dwell time as it clings to the paint. It turns out this is a complete waste of time, at least when using a product as good as this. And this product has been tested and proven to be exceptionally good by the Forensic Detailing channel, and I find its performance to be fantastic as well. But you absolutely don't need to use it in a snow foam lance for it to work. In fact, by far the fastest and simplest way of using it is to mix it in a cheap weed sprayer and just grab it, spray it on, and then pressure rinse off with the DI water, and that's it. The complete contactless routine done. It takes about 6 minutes to wash my whole car. And there's no filling of foam bottles, no changing of hose attachments. The weed sprayer lasts several washes too. And here's the funny thing, if you have any doubts about not using it in a snow foam lance, just look at the label on the bottle. I think the real obsession for snow foam is just because it looks so dramatic, so it's always going to be used by professional detailers to turn heads when they wash cars. So you get this idea persisting that snow foam is what the pros use and therefore must be important. The reality, as clarified by Bilt Hamber themselves, is that it makes no difference to its cleaning power at all, and in fact, setting up a snow foam lance each wash is a hassle that just isn't worth the time investment. The fourth secret that makes this routine as effective as it is to use a ceramic coating. This is, I think, the easiest way to get a proper 12 months longevity coating. There is one exception which I'll mention in a second. I've tried all kinds of approaches to making this contactless routine work, and this is the only one that genuinely allows for really extended times between your bucket washes. This is the way that ensures that when you do your contactless pressure rinse, it takes all the dirt off the car and leaves behind a nice, shiny and spotless finish. The problem with ceramic coatings is normally they're a massive pain to use. You need an indoor space to apply them, and the potential to mess it up is very high. The trick is to use something like GYEON CanCoat, and this is super easy to apply at home, even outside. The only thing is you need 24 hours without rain after you apply it. But it's basically a spray on and wipe on process, extremely fast. And the absolute killer part of this process is it can be used on the unpainted plastics on the car and really restores the look of them, as well as making sure they're super easy to keep clean too. I've had this on my Land Rover over a year now, and if you use a ceramic top-up shampoo once every 3 or 4 months, you can really extend the performance of the ceramic coating. It's worth using machine polisher before the ceramic coat if your paint is a bit swirly, and that in itself is a very rewarding process. A dual action polisher is the safest type of machine to use, and the trick here is to get the Draper model that looks to be almost identical to the more expensive DAS 6 version you get on car detailing websites. I do want to mention an alternative to the ceramic coating that is much more forgiving on older paint and means you can use a filler hand polish first, like Bilt Hamber Cleanser Polish, to mask the swirls rather than machine correct them. And that is using Soft 99 Fusso Coat, and I use this on my parents' car and it does perform exceptionally well. It's harder to apply and isn't trim safe on unpainted plastics, but it avoids the need for the machine polish. It is easily good enough for the ongoing effectiveness of the contactless washes in this approach though. So to clarify the routine, we start with a ceramic or Fusso Coat protected car, and then every week we do a super fast contactless routine based on Touchless, sprayed on with a weed sprayer and pressure rinsed off with DI filtered water. Then this can just be left to air dry. Then every 3 or 4 months I do a bucket wash with GYEON Bathe Plus to properly clean the paint and top up the hydrophobicity of the coating, and that's it. The car is always clean and the effort and time penalty is extremely low. This routine is really a life-changing workflow. If you enjoy my deep dives, you'll enjoy this comparison between a combined fan and purifier from Dyson and separate devices from Miko. There's a bit of a bombshell in my findings that I reveal in that video, so I'll see you there.